The Hungarian Grand Prix exposed one of Ferrari's most puzzling challenges of the season. Team principal Frédéric Vasseur openly admitted that a strange chassis issue left the team unable to compete at their expected level. This was not a minor setback, but a fundamental problem that altered their entire weekend strategy. Ferrari arrived in Hungary with optimism, armed with upgrades designed to narrow the gap to their rivals. Instead, they faced a frustrating reality that unfolded from the very first practice session. Vasseur's words reflected both frustration and transparency. He confirmed that the team had identified irregularities in the car's behavior that no setup adjustment could fix. For a team known for precision and methodical development, this was a painful reminder of how quickly a single technical flaw can derail an entire race. Hungary was supposed to be an opportunity to build momentum. Instead, it became a case study in lost potential. Ferrari's performance was not simply a matter of pace. It was the story of a hidden mechanical weakness that defined their weekend. Chapter 2. Ferrari's Technical Puzzle. Ferrari's engineers faced a problem that defied conventional solutions. The car's chassis, a core component of its structure, showed inconsistencies that could not be traced to external factors like weather or track conditions. Vasseur described the issue as strange because it did not align with their data or simulations. As practice sessions progressed, drivers reported unpredictable handling, particularly in the medium and slow-speed corners that dominate the Hungaroring. The car's balance shifted unexpectedly, forcing constant setup experiments. None of them produced the stability the team desperately needed. The Hungarian circuit is unforgiving when it comes to car balance. Each corner demands precise control, and Ferrari's inconsistent plateforme turned every lap into a battle. This made qualifying especially painful, as the drivers struggled to extract performance from a car that refused to respond predictably. By the end of Saturday, Ferrari realized they were not only fighting their rivals, they were also fighting their own machine. This internal battle framed the narrative of their weekend and raised urgent questions about the root cause of their difficulties. For Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, Hungary was a relentless test of skill and patience. The chassis issue left both drivers frustrated, unable to lean on the car's usual strengths. Every lap became a balancing act between managing instability and extracting pace. Leclerc, known for his precision and ability to adapt quickly, described the car as unpredictable. Sainz, equally analytical, struggled to find a rhythm. The result was a qualifying session that left Ferrari buried in the midfield, far from their expected position on the grid. During the race, the situation only worsened. Poor traction out of slow corners and inconsistent tire behavior forced both drivers into damage control mode. They focused on simply surviving rather than attacking. Every defensive move underscored the fact that Ferrari's chassis issue had turned a potential points haul into a fight to limit the damage. In Formula One, confidence in the car is everything. At Hungary, Ferrari's drivers were left with none. Their struggle perfectly illustrated how a single technical flaw can neutralize even the most talented pair of hands. Hungary's unique layout amplified Ferrari's hidden problem. With its narrow straights and constant sequence of corners, the circuit demands precision in car balance and chassis response. A small issue that might go unnoticed elsewhere became glaringly obvious in Budapest. The chassis irregularity disrupted Ferrari's mechanical grip, especially in the low and medium-speed corners that dominate the track. Unlike power-heavy circuits where straight-line speed can compensate, the Hungaroring offered nowhere to hide. Every weakness was laid bare for all to see. Moreover, the limited overtaking opportunities in Hungary made qualifying position critical. Ferrari's inability to extract performance on Saturday doomed their Sunday strategy before the race even began. Once locked in the midfield, their drivers were left vulnerable to rivals with more stable cars and better tire management. Vasseur later admitted that Hungary acted as a magnifying glass for Ferrari's technical shortcomings. It was not simply a bad weekend. It was a brutal demonstration of why small flaws can become race-defining at the wrong track. For Ferrari, the lesson was impossible to ignore. Frédéric Vasseur did not sugarcoat the situation. In his post-race interviews, he called the chassis problem strange and admitted that it fundamentally crippled Ferrari's performance in Hungary. This level of openness is rare in Formula One, where teams often shield their weaknesses behind vague explanations. Vasseur's candid remarks reflected two things: accountability and urgency. He made it clear that Ferrari would not hide from their mistakes. Instead, the team would confront the issue head-on. His words also served as a message to both fans and rivals that Ferrari understood the seriousness of their problem. For a team steeped in history and expectation, this honesty was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it reassured supporters that Ferrari would not ignore reality. On the other, it underscored just how far they still need to go to challenge the likes of Red Bull and McLaren. Hungary was not just a bad weekend. It was a public admission that Ferrari's fight for answers is far from over. Fixing a chassis issue is not as simple as bolting on an upgrade. It requires deep investigation into structural integrity, weight distribution, and aerodynamic interaction. Ferrari's engineers now face the daunting task of diagnosing a problem that even their advanced simulations failed to predict. This process is complicated by Formula One's cost cap, which limits how much a team can spend on development. Ferrari cannot simply redesign their car mid-season without sacrificing other areas of performance. Each decision must be calculated, balancing short-term fixes with long-term goals. Vasseur has already indicated that the team will leave no stone unturned. From detailed data analysis to real-world testing, Ferrari's technical department is preparing for an exhaustive review. Their objective is not just to fix the chassis for future races, but to ensure this kind of issue never blindsides them again. Hungary may have exposed the flaw, but solving it will demand relentless precision. In the high-stakes world of Formula One, every engineering decision counts. Ferrari knows there is no margin for error. The Hungarian Grand Prix was more than a single lost race. For Ferrari, it may have lasting implications for their 2025 campaign. The points they failed to secure could prove costly in the tightly contested battle for second place in the Constructors' Championship. Moreover, the setback has disrupted Ferrari's development momentum. Each race weekend provides vital data for future upgrades, but Hungary forced the team into damage control mode. Instead of testing planned improvements, Ferrari spent the weekend firefighting, limiting the opportunity to gather meaningful insights. The psychological effect cannot be ignored either. For a team chasing Red Bull's dominance, confidence is critical. Hungary served as a reminder that their car remains vulnerable, and that reality will weigh heavily on their drivers and engineers until a solution is found. Yet, despite the setback, Ferrari's fight is far from finished. Their ability to respond decisively to this challenge will determine whether Hungary becomes a turning point or a warning sign of deeper struggles ahead. While Ferrari faltered, their rivals capitalized. McLaren and Mercedes saw Hungary as a chance to strike, tightening the battle behind Red Bull. Every point lost by Ferrari became an opportunity for their competitors to climb the standings. McLaren's impressive consistency highlighted the contrast. While Ferrari wrestled with an uncooperative chassis, McLaren executed a near-flawless weekend, showcasing both speed and reliability. Mercedes, though still inconsistent, managed to extract enough performance to apply pressure. These developments only add to Ferrari's urgency. In Formula One, standing still means falling behind. Hungary showed that their rivals are not waiting for them to recover. Instead, they are exploiting every weakness. For Ferrari, this is more than a technical issue. It is a strategic threat. If their rivals continue to build momentum, Ferrari risks losing not just podiums, but also their foothold in the championship fight. Hungary was not just about one team's failure. It reshaped the competitive landscape, making Ferrari's response in the coming races even more critical. Ferrari's response to Hungary will define their season. Vasseur has promised an intensive internal review, combining driver feedback, engineering analysis, and simulator testing to pinpoint the root of the chassis problem. Every department within the team is now focused on ensuring this failure is not repeated. One key area of investigation will be the correlation between wind tunnel data and on-track behavior. If discrepancies are found, Ferrari may need to rework how they develop and validate upgrades. Additionally, the team will explore whether the issue is related to Hungary, or if it reflects a deeper structural limitation in their car design. Leclerc and Sainz will play a critical role in this process. Their ability to provide precise, actionable feedback will be essential in guiding Ferrari's technical direction. Hungary has placed Ferrari in a corner, but history shows that this team has rebounded from adversity before. Now the question is whether they can transform this setback into the breakthrough they desperately need. The Hungarian Grand Prix was more than a race. It was a reckoning for Ferrari. Their strange chassis problem stripped away illusions and forced the team to confront its vulnerabilities. In doing so, it may have laid the groundwork for the transformation they need. Vasseur's honesty set the tone for what must come next. Ferrari can no longer afford incremental fixes. They must innovate, adapt, and act with urgency if they are to return to the front of the grid. For Leclerc and Sainz, this challenge represents both frustration and opportunity. A team's response to adversity often defines its future, and Hungary has given Ferrari the clearest test yet of their resilience. Whether this becomes a turning point or a warning will depend entirely on the choices Ferrari makes in the weeks ahead. One thing, however, is certain. The Hungarian Grand Prix will not be remembered only for what Ferrari lost, but for the moment it revealed what they must become.